All right, here's my information for today's Open Collab. This is open to anyone who wants to get in on it. If you're seeing this and you have a book you'd like to talk about, you're welcome to join. You just need to use the hashtag Thursday Booktube, and it's hosted by at My Mountain Home and Kitchen and at Life with Patty. So you'll read and review any book. In fact, you don't even have to read it. If you read it a long time ago, if you plan to read it, if you know of it and someone read it to you, anything. You can have it from long ago, or you just read it last night. It could be a cookbook, it could be a romance, a mystery, a comic book, a how-to book, any kind of book you like. Last week's BookTube Thursday, Thursday BookTube, I did a cookbook that I liked. And this week I'm doing a how-to is actually what this is. So let me just say that I think that this book is not the end-all and be-all, and I think you, as your own whole person, should speak with your trusted care provider, whether that is a midwife or an obstetrician or a chiropractor, anyone at all who you trust and is, licensed, if you have concerns. I personally believe and used Homebirth. I had 2 hospital, 1 birth center, and 2 home births. So out of 5, I only got 2 home births, but I believe I love them so much. So this book is a how-to, and it is written for everyone. It's written for people who plan to home birth, and it's written for people who are pregnant and think, what if? What if I go into labor and there's a snowstorm and we can't get out? What would I have to be prepared? Polly, who was born February 27th, 1923, and she's passed away now. She died November 7th in 2007. She was an ultimate prepper. She was a Mormon, or LDS, and she lived in Spanish Fork, Utah, and she traveled all over, giving lots and lots of lectures to other midwives, to just straight up families who were thinking about doing their own birth at home. She was a first responder for her local sheriff department. When there was a problem with a home birth, she could come in and help. Let me just tell you all the things that she did in her life. She was a mother, a wife, an herbalist, gotta get my notes here, a teacher, a midwife, a prepper. The book I'm going to show you today is right here. One of 16 books. She wrote 16 books. And let me tell you what this book all has in it. More notes. I'll grab these for you. So one of the things that she has in this book that really doesn't have a whole lot to do with birth is recipes. And she believed in nutrition for everyone, for children, for men, for women, for pregnant, anybody. So she would have it back here in the back of her book, recipes that were nutritious for dressings, salad, breakfast cereals, jams, and jellies. And then she also had recipes for herbs that you could go and get herbs, from an herbalist or herbal. I can't even think of the name of where I used to get my herbs now. Mountain Rose, I think it was called. You could look up herbal supply places online if you're interested. And she made herbs for blends for bladder, blood pressure, morning sickness, liver issues, postpartum care. There's an herb for everything, because that's what people used to have when they didn't have access to a care provider. And when she began her journey as a midwife, there was less access in her part of the country for women to have an obstetrician or a hospital, so there's that to think about, and that's the mindset of this too. But mostly it was for preppers, I think. People that just, for whatever reason, couldn't afford it, couldn't get to it, couldn't afford it because they didn't have the money, didn't have the insurance, couldn't get to it because of a storm or lack of transportation, or they didn't trust people. They didn't trust the government. They didn't trust medical personnel. There are families to this day, even here in town, who are living in little bitty houses with multiple children, and to some people that might not look good, and they may be the happiest family in town, but people can look at other people funny if it's not their norm. So there's just a lot of reasons why people might choose home birth, and she goes into what's typical when you're pregnant, what's typical when you're in labor, what's a red flag, what should you do about it? Should you get to a doctor even if you're not trustful? Should you use an herbal thing? Should you go to the hospital? Things like that. What you might want to have on hand. What's a birth kit look like? With my home births, I had a birth kit. You always, in the state of Washington, our midwives are all licensed, and you get a list of things to have on hand. And then, of course, the midwife brings all the good stuff, like she brings her oxygen, and she brings her medication in case there's a hemorrhage. She brings, gauze, and just, all of the things that a midwife is going to need. But you make one of extra sheets, you want a water bottle, you want a peri bottle. A peri bottle is a bottle that looks like a squeezy, like ketchup bottle. And it's for when, after you have your baby and you're going to go urinate, you want to squirt water on your perineum, just like while you're urinating, because that can sting a little bit sometimes if baby made a little skid mark or whatever. Midwives also carry sutures. If you happen to tear during birth, they can do that. They are licensed to do that. They have numbing medication, just like, your OB at the hospital. If they have to do a repair on your perineum, there you go. They can do that. So this is just, I'm afraid to show because I don't want to mess up copyright and have that infringement on me. I've had this book for years and years. It didn't come like this. It came, just flat bound, and I had a coil put in it, and I had it laminated. I'm just going to go quick. She has drawings. There aren't real pictures in here. They are drawings. They're like diagrams. There's a diagram of the female reproductive system. There we go. And, I'm sure everybody's seen that. And I also don't want to offend anyone's, but, birth is natural, and how to swaddle a baby. She goes into what to do about a baby's rash, what rash is typical and normal. And even if you don't home birth, there is value in this book. And from what I'm seeing, her family is now selling this book, and I've seen it anywhere from $24 to $59. So the best thing I think for her herbally in here is called Polygene's 5-week antenatal formula. So this is something that women who are expecting will start taking, and it's a supplement of herbs, comes in a bottle, in capsules, and it has the birth herbs in it. And it keeps mom, some believe, I shouldn't say it will, some believe that it keeps mom from going into labor early, and it keeps mom from going into labor too late, because here in Washington, and in other states I'm sure, where midwives are licensed, you are not allowed to go past a certain part. Like, your baby is perfectly fine being born, week 37 to, they say 42 is the cutoff here. If you go to 42 weeks in a day, you have to go to the hospital. It's called risking out of home birth with a licensed midwife, which is so traumatic for some women who have put all their hope and dreams into getting to know and feeling like their midwife is their best friend, because you do. You spend, when you see an OB, I'm not trying to trash OBs. I had OBs that I love too, but my OB appointment with my OB took maximum 10 minutes if there was something going on. I would go in, get a blood pressure check, get a weight, give them a urine sample. How you doing? Pretty good. Doc will be in 10 minutes, whatever. He'd come in and how you doing? How's it going? What are you thinking? Okay, see you next month or next week or whatever. So when you go to a midwife appointment, you expect an hour. An hour. If you want. You don't have to stay an hour, but she will make you a cup of herbal tea. You will sit down in a comfortable chair. You're not sitting on a paper-lined table. You're going to chat about, the kids, what's going on with them, how's your partner, how's your diet, what did you have for dinner last night, anything make your tummy upset or give you indigestion, what can we do about that? You just can't even imagine the difference. And so I'll say one thing. If you are unhappy with your care provider, whether that's a midwife or an obstetrician or a general practitioner, whoever you use, there's no law that says you can't move along. You can go get another provider. Absolutely you can. It's not too late unless you're pushing, unless you're at the hospital. You can get another provider. You owe them nothing. They can't report you for anything. Be happy with your provider. Be trusting with your provider. And she believed in these things. And a good midwife does. And a good OB does too. Again, I had OBs. I'm not trashing OBs, and I'm not glorifying all midwives. There are some stinkers out there too. So that's my book review. Let me show you the back here. This is her in her later years. Crumbs all over my table. I need to change this. We had a birthday party on this last night. What a mess. Oh my goodness. Okay, I was trying to show you the back of the book. Now at last, a comprehensive natural childbirth reference book and training manual for all those who desire better birthing experiences. Polly Block's years of experience delivering babies, training lay midwives, and lecturing have prepared her to write this volume. I'm putting my glasses down. Hold on. It's getting harder. This, where was years of experience, training, her personal labor of love. As a registered nurse, Lamaze instructor, mother of 3 children, this book must be reading for my clients. Yep, she says so. Oh, I didn't tell you. My background is I was a doula. I was a childbirth educator. I was a La Leche League leader for like 15 years. I was a midwife assistant. I worked here in my area with lots and lots of different kinds of families. And I embrace all things birth, no matter how you want to do it. And it's not about me, it's about Polly. Read this book, get this book. I don't know if you can get it from the library, but if you can't, get it from the library. It's worth it to look and see if you can find one in a used bookstore or one of those used books online. It's also something I'm going to continue to keep on my shelf as one of the references in case anything goes down. And as it turns out, I'm the only one within, 4 or 5 miles. The midwife that I worked with lives walking distance from me now. I mean, I couldn't do it, but you probably could. Anyway, but she's getting up there in her years. I think she might be 78, 79 now. So I'll just say her name. I think we should honor the women who serve women. And her name is Mifanwi Carlson. Mifanwi Decker Carlson. Also from Utah, also LDS Mormon, wonderful, wonderful people. I'm Baptist, but I see the value in everybody that loves God and everybody that doesn't. Am I trying to shovel myself out of a hole here? Take care, everybody. See you tomorrow.